Today we're making a basic scrunchie. The free written pattern as well as the printable pattern are linked in the description below, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave a like or comment to let me know. Thank you so much, and let's get started. For this project, I'm using about 25 grams of upcycle alpaca blend yarn in the color Sage. And this yarn is worsted weight, but it is on the thinner side, and you want to use a thinner yarn so your scrunchie isn't bulky. And you can use any yarn you want, just try to keep it under number 4 weight yarn. And I'll also need a 4mm hook, some scissors, and a yarn needle. And of course, we'll need a hair tie. And if your hair tie is really stretchy, you might want to use 2 hair ties, especially if you want yours to be really scrunched. Here's a comparison of 3 scrunchies that I made. In this tutorial, we're making the first scrunchie, and you can customize your scrunchie by how many chains and how many rows that you do. The second one, we did 10 chains instead of 15, but the same number of rows. And then the third one, we used 2 hair ties instead of 1, and we did the same number of chains, but 9 more rows. First, we're going to make a slip knot. And to make a slip knot, place the yarn over your hand with the tail end at the bottom. And then hold the yarn with your thumb, and make sure you have a pretty short tail end, so about this long. Then grab the top and wrap it around 2 fingers to form an X. And you can hold it with your pinky. And then with your hook, go under one side of the X, and then over, grab this other side and pull it through. Then remove your fingers and tighten the knot. Now we're going to do loose chains. So to do a chain, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. And make sure you keep it loose so you don't pull on this yarn to tighten it. Again, to chain, we're going to yarn over and pull through. Yarn over, pull through. And we're going to chain a total of 15 chains. If you used a different yarn or hook size, then you might need a different number of chains. And instead, you can chain until you have about 7.5 centimeters. And if you want a smaller scrunchie, you can do fewer chains, and if you want a bigger scrunchie, you can do more chains. And if you have thinner hair, I would recommend doing fewer chains. So here's a size comparison of the 2 scrunchies that I made. This one is the 15 chains, the one we're doing in the tutorial, and then this is a smaller one I made with 10 chains instead of 15. And this one fits my hair better because I have thinner hair. But if you do have thicker hair, then you might like this one better. But once you're happy with the length and the circumference that it'll make the scrunchie, we're going to attach it to our hair tie, and we're going to pull the chains into our hair tie like that. So once we have our chain inside our hair tie like this, we're going to slip stitch to the very first chain that we made. So first we're going to make sure that our chains are all facing up, so it's not twisted. Everything is facing up. You can see the V's of each chain. And we're going to go over to this very first chain we made, and we're going to go over and insert a hook into this chain. So just go through the V of this very first chain we made, like that. And then to slip stitch, we're going to yarn over and pull through that chain and through the loop on our hook. And now the chains should be interlocked with the hair tie. And now we're going to be working in rounds and making that tubing around this hair tie. And to start the first round and every new round, we're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet all the way around. And the first double crochet we're doing is into that same chain that we just slip stitched to. So that very first chain that we made, we're going to do a double crochet. And to do a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook back into the space at the bottom of our 2 chains. So right here at my left thumb, we're going to go back into this space, yarn over, pull through, and we should have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that's our first double crochet. Now we can move on to the next chain right here, and we're going to do another double crochet into this chain. And again, to do a double crochet, we're going to yarn over and insert our hook into this chain. Then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And we'll move on to the next chain, do another double crochet, again yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to just do 1 double crochet into every single chain around. So I have 14 double crochets so far, and that means I have 1 chain left. And I'm going to do my final double crochet into that chain. And the slip stitch that we did here, it looks kind of like a stitch, but it's not. We're only going to have 15 double crochets because we did 15 chains. So after our 15 double crochets, we're going to do a slip stitch. And we're going to do a slip stitch to the very first double crochet that we made. Over here, you can see the chain 2 that we did to build up the height, and then our very first double crochet right here. And at the top of every single double crochet, there's a V at the top of it. So we're going to go under the V at the top of the first double crochet we made this round. And then we're going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook and tighten it to make a slip stitch. And we're going to do a slip stitch at the end of every single round. So here is how my first round looks. And if you're happy with the width of the scrunchie, you can continue. Or if you're not happy with it, you can undo it and then do a different number of chains. So you'll do fewer chains to make it thinner or more chains to make it wider. Now we're going to start our second round. And again, to start every single new round, we're going to chain 2. And we're going to do a double crochet in every single stitch. And our very first double crochet is going to go into that same stitch that we slip stitched to. So this one right at the base of the chain 2 right here. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook back into the same stitch that we slip stitched to, and do our double crochet. Now we can move on to the next stitch, this one here. You can also look at it from the top to see the V's. So there's one V here, another V here, another V here, and we're going to do a double crochet into every single stitch. So this next stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet, then move on to the next and do 1 double crochet, and we're going to continue this all the way around. So I've just gone all the way around and I have a total of 15 stitches this round, and that means that I'm done with this round. Again, make sure that you're not doing a double crochet into the slip stitch, so that one does not count as a stitch. And at the end of every round, we're going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. So again, look for the first double crochet that we made. Right next to our chain 2, we have our first double crochet. We're going to go under the V at the top of it, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook and tighten. And now we have 2 rounds done. And our third round is the exact same as the second round. We'll chain 2 and do our first double crochet into the same stitch we just slip stitched to. And then do 1 double crochet into every single stitch. And once you've done a total of 15 double crochets all the way around, we're going to do another slip stitch to the first stitch that we made. And there is our third round. And we're just going to keep repeating this round. So that's chain 2 and do a double crochet into every single stitch and slip stitch at the end. And we're going to continue doing this round over and over again. And the more rounds you do, the more scrunched the scrunchie will be. So I'll check back in around 30 rounds and I'll show you how it looks. And if you're using a different yarn or hook size, just like with the chains in the very beginning, you might need a different number of rounds. Also, after doing a lot of rounds, you'll notice that it gets harder for the tubing to twist around the hair tie. So once you've double crocheted until the center of the scrunchie, you can turn it inside out like this. And then the inside becomes the outside and you can work the rest of the round. And once you've gone around and you reach back to the inside of the hair tie, just flip it back inside out and then continue working and just repeat that. So here I have 30 rounds, and if you want just a flat scrunchie like this, then you can fasten off now and skip to where we attach the first and last round. So I'm going to add a few more rounds and I'll show you how it looks once I do that. So here I've done 43 rounds total, and you can see that it creases right here. And if you do want more of these creases, you can continue adding more rounds, but we're going to stop here and we're going to fasten off. And to fasten off, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to cut our yarn about 10 inches or 25 centimeters long. And then we're going to pull through with our hook and tighten the knot. And then with this loose end that we left, we're going to sew the last round we did to the first round we did. And before we start sewing, we're going to look for the loose end from our slip knot in the very beginning. So reach inside here, and then we should find our slip knot loose end. And we're going to line up both of our loose ends. So this one, we're going to fold it at the outside. And then this one, we're going to pinch it right here and also fold it. So this loose end is on the outside. And we're going to go around and flatten it like that and make sure it's not twisted. So now we have the loose ends on the outer ring, and we're going to use this loose end to sew the first and last rounds together. So grab your yarn needle, and we're going to thread this extra long loose end into our yarn needle. And then we're going to rotate it like this, and we're going to connect this very first round we did to the very last round we did. And we'll start with the first stitch to the left of the loose ends. So first on the other side, the further side, we're going to look at the loose end, and we're going to look for the first chain to the left of the loose end. So here is where the loose end is coming out, and we're going to go into the chain to the left of it. So this one here, and we're going to go down through it like that. And then we're going to look on the closer side, look for the loose end, and then the first stitch to the left of it. And we're going to go under the V like that. Then pull your yarn through and make sure this loose end doesn't get tangled. And now the first stitches are connected. And then we can move on to the next stitches. Again, we'll start with the further side, and we're going to look for the next chain on the further side. So you can see we just went into this one here, so we're going to go into the next chain right here. So go down, and then on the closer side, you can see our yarn is coming out of here. So we're going to move on to the next stitch right here. And we're going to go under the V and pull our yarn through. And make sure you're not pulling too tight. You want it to just be taut. Now we'll move on to the next chain on the other side. So we just went into this one, and next we'll go into this one. And then we'll go into the next stitch on the closer side. And we just went into this one, so we'll go into this one to the left of it. And then the next chain and the next stitch. And the next chain and the next stitch. And we're going to continue, and once we reach the inner circle, we can flip it inside out. And continue sewing each stitch together. And once you've sewn all the way around, we can tie these two loose ends together to fasten the seam and make sure it doesn't come loose. So just grab the two ends and tie a double knot. And again, make sure to not pull too tight when you tie your knot. And now the first and last rounds are connected. And here is how the scrunchie looks. And the last thing to do is to hide our two loose ends. And we can just use our hook, and we're going to insert our hook somewhere far away from the loose ends. So around here, just insert your hook into the middle of the tubing. So your hook shouldn't be showing through on the other side, it's in the middle. And then staying within the tubing, we're going to reach back to where the two loose ends are coming out. And then stick your hook out right next to where the two loose ends are, right at the knot. And then hook the two loose ends onto your hook and pull it through to the inside. And now those two loose ends are hidden. So since we sewed it with the slip stitch on the outside, we're going to move the hair tie so that the slip stitch is on the inside. And that's so it doesn't fold so easily like this. You want it to just be rounded like that. So look for this line of the two chains we do at the start of every round. And then we're going to grab the hair tie from the inside, grab it, and then we'll twist the scrunchie around and just work around. And again, we moved the slip stitch seam from the outside to the inside, and it's okay if the inside folds, but you don't really want the outside to be folding flat like this. And our scrunchie is complete. And that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Also, a quick shout out to my channel members, Joy and Stacy. You can become a member of this channel and have these little yarn ball badges next to your name whenever you comment, and other perks like shout outs, early access to new videos, discount codes for my Etsy, help with any of my crochet patterns, and connecting on social media. Thank you again to Joy and Stacy for being channel members, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.